You're looking for a subwoofer that actually moves the crowd, not just a box that rattles a few extra decibels on paper. You want something that will sit on a stage or a DJ truck, stay reliable night after night, and justify every dollar you spend. The biggest worry most people have is ending up with a heavy, temperamental unit that sounds great in the showroom, but turns into a headache when you have to load it into a van, hook it up to a mix, and keep it from blowing out on the first big bass drop. That's why I spent a few days digging through spec sheets, watching LiveSound forums, and listening to a handful of real-world setups before I hit record. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The QSC KS118 is an 18-inch active sub that promises a 3600-watt Class D engine and a direct radiating driver. On paper, that sounds like a lot, but the real question is how that power translates when you're actually trying to fill a warehouse or an outdoor festival stage. In my testing, the first thing you notice is the sheer volume of low end that fills a room even at moderate gain settings. The DSP on board does more than just protect the amp. It automatically flattens the response so you don't have to spend an hour dialing in a custom EQ. The selectable deep mode is a practical addition if you need that extra sub-bass punch for EDM or hip-hop tracks that dip down to 30 Hz. Flip it off for spoken word events or acoustic gigs, and you'll find the sub stays tight without muddying the mids. From a logistics standpoint, the KS118 feels built for the road. The enclosure is rugged, with rubber-lined handles that absorb the bumps of loading and unloading. The M20 threaded pole receptacle is a subtle but useful feature. You can mount the sub on a 35mm pole and raise it a foot or two, which helps steer the low frequencies away from the front-of-house speakers and reduces boominess in tight venues. The optional KSLOC security cover is another nod to professional use. It prevents anyone from accidentally tweaking the gain or switching modes during a gig. Who should actually consider buying this? If you are a mobile DJ who regularly plays clubs, corporate events, or outdoor festivals, the KS118 gives you a reliable, high-output bass source that you can set up in under 10 minutes and walk away from, thanks to the DSP's automatic protection. Sound reinforcement companies that rent gear will appreciate the transport-friendly design and the fact that the unit is self-powered, no external amp needed, which simplifies inventory and reduces cable clutter. Small to mid-size venues that already have a front-of-house mix but need that extra bottom end for certain acts will also find the deep mode useful without having to invest in a full-scale line array. On the other side of the coin, if you're a homeowner looking to add a sub to a living room theater, the KS118 is probably overkill. Its size and power draw make it a poor fit for confined spaces, and the price point reflects a professional-grade product rather than a consumer-grade bargain. Likewise, if you run a coffee shop or a boutique store where background music is the only requirement, the level of output and the need for proper power distribution might be unnecessary. Finally, if you're on a shoestring budget, there are smaller 12-inch active subs that will give you decent low end for far less money. You'll be paying a premium for the transport features and the heavy-duty DSP that you may never fully utilize. Practical strengths that stood out in real-world use. The sub's ability to maintain clean, deep bass at high SPLs without distortion. When I cranked a 130 dB track at a warehouse show, the KS118 stayed composed, and the onboard limiter prevented any clipping that could have fried the driver. The deep mode really shines during tracks that sit at the bottom of the spectrum. You feel the vibration in the floor, not just a thump in your ears. The pole mount made it easy to place the sub slightly higher than the main speakers, which helped the low frequencies blend better with the rest of the mix, a trick often recommended by seasoned engineers. Weaknesses are mostly about the trade-offs that come with such power. The unit weighs around 75 pounds, so you'll need at least one strong pair of hands, or a dolly, to move it regularly. It also draws a fair amount of electricity. You'll need a dedicated 120V circuit capable of handling a few amps, especially if you run it in deep mode. The control panel, while intuitive, sits on a glossy finish that can get fingerprints quickly, so you'll want a cleaning cloth on hand during quick changes. Finally, the price point sits in the upper mid-range for active subs, so you have to be sure you'll actually use that 3600W headroom. Underdriving it in a small venue can feel wasteful. Overall, the QSC KS118 is a purpose-built subwoofer that delivers the kind of low-frequency impact that professional sound crews demand. Its strengths lie in the combination of raw power, smart DSP, and transport-oriented design, which